so that we, and Tom with his fancy background has disappeared. So morning everybody, thank you very much for joining us on the latest Good Salon Guide webinar. This one's titled Marketing Your Salon Post-Coronavirus, Making a Success of your salon in the new world that we are slowly, chrysalis-like emerging into. As Claire said, we'll just let the panelists introduce themselves. So perhaps we can start with Simon, go clockwise on my screen.
Marvellous. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me this morning. It's very nice to be with you. So my name is Simon Harris. I'm a hairdresser, 45 years experience. Used to own a group of salons for 36 years, and I stepped out of salon owning into coaching, and I have a company called Mysalonmanager. We work with 98 salons across the UK and abroad, and I'm also a retained consultant for the John Frieda salons, both in London and New York. So we've been working very hard over the last 3 months, helping our salons manage the lockdown and also prepare them for reopening. So that's kind of really what I do. I'm all about the business and the numbers.
Okay, thank you. Ashley, good morning.
Good morning.
Really good, glad you could join us. We're just letting each of the panelists give a very short intro to themselves, and if you wouldn't mind, just letting everybody know who you are and kind of what you're amazing at, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Lovely. My name is Ashley Gamble. We're from Ashley Gamble Salon in Shropshire, Shifnal. And I suppose we have a very busy salon. We have 15, 16 members of staff that we love and care for, but we really love competition work, and I think that's where we thrive as well as salon work. So over the past 5 years, we've won a lot of accolades with the Salon Business, Hairdresser Journal, British Hairdresser of the Year. Stephanie's just won International Colour Collection of the Year. Our head technicians won Newcomer of the Year for the British Hairdressing Awards. And we try and develop that skill and that talent from a young age. So Darcy, one of my stylists, who I've trained myself and very proud of, she's won Junior of the Year. And now she's turned into a very successful stylist. So we're all about really development of the team in sort of a competitive environment to try and give the best for the salon floor. So that's what we're about, really.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. That's fantastic and great to have you with us. Tom.
Yep, great. Thanks, Gareth. Yeah, really pleased to be here. So my background's technology and sort of very much the business side of salons. So I've worked putting technology into salons for over 20 years, from sort of back when I had hair. And yeah, sort of brought shortcuts into the UK. My real interest is innovation and helping independent salon owners run a more efficient, successful business through leveraging technology. So I started working with a company called Vish, which is a Canadian company, back in September, October, to bring their product into the market. It's a product that weighs colour effectively and the waste that's left, and then adjusts formulas, stores the formula, adjusts the formula so you don't have waste. But our main focus is really on pricing and effectively pricing for the colour that you use, predominantly because most salons use way more colour than they think they do, and their margins on services are not the same, because you've got this sort of charging for, I guess, kind of a service of which you're including any cost of colour, and that colour could be £5 to £15, depending upon thickness of hair and things like that. So Vish is geared up to allow you to charge for that extra product that you need to use without stifling your creativity. So it's quite a bit of a game changer in terms of how your profits within the salon change as a result of that. So so that's what we're doing. Really busy through at this point, just getting people set up for reopening and making sure they're profitable, really.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Claire.
Yes, I'm Claire, and I run Clair Orton PR. It's a PR business, and I also am the PR for Good Salon Guide, which is why I'm here. So I've been a hair PR working just really in the hair and beauty sector for about 20 years. And before that, I was a hair and beauty journalist. So I've worked with salons of all sizes and all over the country, really, all over the world. And it's interesting, since I've been with Good Salon Guide, I've brought some of my PR ideas to them. We've done some incredibly exciting things together. I love working with them. And hopefully we can talk in this sort of seminar. What we'd like to do is look at ways that when we get back in the salon, we're really going to make the business work, because I think so many salon owners are anxious, and hopefully I can help alongside all you other guys with sort of some PR marketing ideas. And I think if I could just say, I read something else today, we really need to think, if we can, I think one thing I've noticed, and you might all have noticed the same, is that salon owners expect to be extremely busy for 6 or 7 weeks, and then there's a predicted slump. And that's when we need to think innovatively and outside the box for that period when things are going to get a bit tough. So hopefully we can help with that today.
Thank you, Claire, very much. I agree entirely. Caroline, last but definitely not least.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to meet you all. So I'm Caroline Sanderson, and I am a salon owner. I have Ego Hair Design up in Inverness in Scotland. I guess I'm known for more mindset. I almost went bankrupt during the last recession in 2009. That's when I started to turn my business around, when I really started to kind of learn about mindset and marketing. And that was also 2010, I set up my coaching company, Salon Jedi. So we coach salon owners, we help them take control of their salon again, get off at the salon floor if they want to get off the tools, but really work on what's between here and work on the mindset part of it as well, which is really the foundation, is what we believe.
Okay, thank you, Caroline, very much. Okay, so what we'll do, guys, if you have a question, if you could use the Q&A function within Zoom, those questions then pop up on our screens, and Claire and I will then ask the questions of the panelists on your behalf. If there's a particular question that's being asked that you like, give it a thumbs up. It moves to the top of the list, so it's more likely to get our attention. But should we start off with the point that Claire's raised, which is that, you know, almost every salon now is, you know, packed to the rafters, December on steroids for the next kind of 4 to 6 weeks. But of course, we're then going to see a lull because we've done everybody. We've got a clear column. What would you guys recommend salons are doing to help fill that gap before the next rush comes in, when everybody's going to need their next service carried out?
Well, I mean, us as a salon, obviously this is something that we've all picked up on very early. And I think the one thing that we're all about in every salon is obviously the safety of our clients, the safety of our staff. And I think the one good move that perhaps that we've made, and perhaps by mistake originally, is that we don't want to speed anything up. We want to keep everything flowing at a steady pace. So a lot of clientele at the moment aren't used to having an hour appointment with ourselves. And what's been happening is throughout the book that we have, Forest System, there's been a few gaps of half an hour's dropping here and there because blow dries are still half an hour's. So what clients are doing now is trying to squeeze themselves in for a cut and blow dry in a half an hour time frame. Despite on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, all of our sort of newsletter channels, we have been informing clients that they can't have a cut in a half an hour slot. It's still happening, which is a shock. People haven't had a haircut for 3 months, they want it cut, which we understand. And I think one of our processes in making sure that our services extend into that 2nd and 3rd month period is effectively staying strong and saying, well, actually, for your safety, a blow dry is all you're having. And then if you'd like to return to the salon, of course, you put at a later date, that would be perfect for us. And I think what we found now is from actually sending that message over the telephone, through our social media channels, we're now starting to get a pickup of revenue in that 2nd quarter that we were really worried about after the 1st month dies down, which is great for us.
Actually, how are they trying to squeeze themselves in then? Are they just going online to try and make the booking and seeing they've got that half hour? I don't understand how that's happening if your appointment booking is being done by, you know, verbally by the team. How are they trying to maneuver themselves in this little gap?
Well, Tom obviously may be familiar with this, and I think a lot of the people in the country may be. We have an app system that we have never taken down for the last 2 months. And what clients have been doing is we've been keeping close contact with regular clients as well as social media channels to say, unfortunately, Boris hasn't given us a date to reopen. But if you'd like to make an appointment when you think it may be, what you can do with the Forest app is literally grab that appointment and then reschedule it to a date that is good. So clients have been constantly staying in a good stream of flow for the last 2-3 months and just moving things really effectively and easily, with the help, of course, of our reception team. So what's happened now is, of course, there's more of a rush now. Boris has said we are open, which is fab. And the half an hour gaps that are there, I do know the clients personally. And I know they haven't had their hair cut for the best part of 3 to 4 months. And they're booked in for a blow dry, yet DMs come in from Facebook and Instagram to say, unfortunately, the app wouldn't let us book a cut, but we're in for a blow dry. Obviously, a cut would be okay with you, wouldn't it, Ashley? And
I see.
That's, of course, when the team now are going through probably, I'd say, 60 to 70 appointments in the last week, whereby we're cross-checking and letting them know that we do care for them and we would like to do a cut and actually can't wait to start cutting anything. I mean, I've been cutting the cats, let alone humans. But we can't do cuts, unfortunately, because of the safety of the COVID levels.
Right, I see how it's working.
Yeah. So that's,
it's quite sneaky then, isn't it? They're kind of using the app and then they're sort of doing that DM personal approach to coerce you. And I think that's difficult because they're sort of playing on your close relationship. And then, as you say, the trick is that you just have to maintain that strength. And
I do think a lot of the team are surprised because I'm always one to look after my clients because I love them dearly. And I think it's what's made this business so great for us because we have such wonderful clients. And there's never a time whereby I can't squeeze anybody in or help them out. If they bear waiting, have a lovely drink, have a manicure possibly while they're waiting. And that's all been fabulous in the past. But of course, now with COVID, that simply can't happen. I do think a lot of clients aren't in the mindset of what COVID actually means. And it means we've got to stay safe and healthy until this passes. And of course, that means looking good with hair, but it means doing it in the right way. So just a nice reminder to all of our clients through DM to say, look, we do love you, but it will be a blow dry, unfortunately. The app isn't broke. There's just no space for about 2 months with Ashley. So therefore, we are asking for blow dries to be blow dries with the occasional fringe trim perhaps. And then, of course, then you can reschedule them for your cuts.
Yeah, it's that educating people, isn't it? I think is a really important point there that, you know, that everybody's so desperate to come in, they're going to lie, they're going to, the upside is they won't be late for once. You know, interestingly, looking in other countries, I'm sure someone will remind me, there's the guy who's got the salon in Berlin who's been doing lots of videos giving his feedback, and you know he said he didn't have a single no-show for the first month, which is just I mean, if we can get this mindset into clients to respect our profession better, that's got to be a good thing that comes out of this. Now, how we do that, of course, is a different question entirely. Caroline, have you got anything else to add about filling that gap?
Yeah, something that we're doing, we're just about to launch, is a package that will see them right throughout. So it's like a bundle of services that will take them right up to like the end of November. So it's, you know, keeping them returning. So they're buying, we often do things like this anyway, when they're buying 4 months worth of hairdressing in advance. So you're securing them, not just that one visit. It's not just focusing on that one visit back. We're focused on securing them for the year. So yeah, and they feel secure as well, that they know that they're panicking, they want in, they're messy. We haven't opened our booking lines yet and they're really wanting in. So there's a security for them as well, that they have their appointments booked right up until, you know, the end of November. They know they can get the times they want, etc. So yeah, that's something that we're going to be doing.
Is there an incentive for them, Caroline? Is there an incentive for them to book as in the package? You know, why would I do it? Money off if I book a package?
Yeah, we always kind of have a rule that, you know, when, I know a lot of people say don't discount and that kind of stuff, but we have a rule if it's a new customer. Also, if people are buying in advance, you know, they're showing the commitment, they're buying bundles, or they're, you know, in large bundles, or they're paying in advance. So yes, we'll discount it slightly, but it's more about adding value, really. So adding value of knowing that they can, you know, they can pre-book ahead etc. Even knowing they can get their best times, that they're limited amounts, treatments in there. You know, we just bundle it up and add extra value. Often we look around as well to our local community, asking other businesses, do they want to put anything in to, you know, add value to the package as well. That's something that we work on a lot as well. So yes, it's not thinking about that first visit back, it's actually thinking beyond there.
Yeah, I think that's right, Caroline, because very quickly, you know, we're going to be into Christmas appointments here. And that's slightly alarming. You know, three visits, we're into December. And, you know, that's assuming we don't get any further like local flare-ups where we have a lockdown like in Leicester. Which and I'm not sure if there are any Leicester salon owners on the call, but if there are, I really feel for you, and our hearts go out that you put all that planning and prep into reopening, and you know, let's hope we can get this sorted as soon as we can, and you guys can reopen as well.
What do you think, Simon, about, have you obviously spoken to your members, because you obviously talk to your members a lot about long-term planning. What are you saying to your members of Mysalonmanager about thinking ahead and preparing for this supposed lull?
Well, I think it really depends on your viewpoint. You know, my view, and you know, we work with so many salons all around, not just the country but internationally as well, that if businesses were strong before this, they're going to come back strong. Unfortunately, I suppose this is slightly off topic a bit, but there were salons that were struggling, you know, all over the country before this, and they're still struggling, and probably struggling more coming back, because they're trying to, you know, if you were working on very tight margins, then they're going to have 10 times the problems when they go back. The strongest of our members are just coming back strong again, and I think they're just taking it in their stride. I mean, we're working now on a, you know, working contingency planning for them for the next 3 periods. We're suggesting that people look for, you know, weeks 1 to 4, weeks 5 to 8, and then weeks 9 onwards, because it is going to be quite different in those 3, looking at 3 completely separate periods. Everybody's going back to quite restricted appointments, some more than others. We've advised against lengthening out the appointments so much that you cease to become profitable, and that's one of the dangers. I think when we're working on, and it really depends on where your price point is as a salon. You know, one of the good things that's come out of this is, I would say 95% of all our members have taken this opportunity to raise their prices to where they should be. And I think that's the one good thing that's come out of it. And I think one of you said that clients are now appreciating hairdressers more than ever, and they just can't wait to get back in. So the fact that most salons will have raised their prices to what I believe is a sensible level is a great thing for the industry, and that would mean that we're going to weather that storm. The second thing is, all salons have to create a culture of rebooking in their salons, so that there should be this assumption that, assuming the client is happy at the point of when the service is finished, that the rebooking should be an assumption. It shouldn't be like, would you like to? It should be like, I'm going to need to see you. And it's giving that, you mentioned mindset, it's changing that mindset. Well, of course you're going to come back to me in 6 weeks. Why wouldn't you? So as long as we're making that rebooking and giving the clients a reason to rebook, then I don't feel we should be worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been somebody, Simon. I mean, I've worked with you for many years, but I think you make a really good point that you have always said at your seminars and times I've watched you, that salon owners are extremely nervous and shaky about raising their prices, haven't you? And you've always been someone that advocates charging what you're worth. But it is something that salon owners need hand-holding about, isn't it? When you say to them, you've got to charge what you're worth. But I think Gareth made the point that it's really, really, and we've had somebody actually mention this on the chat already, that, you know, if you're a professional salon, as Joanne has said, and you're offering a professional, fantastic service, you will come back strong and you will charge what you're worth. And that's quite a positive sort of, a positive message, isn't it, to come out of this?
Yeah.
And that's Tom, that's very much, Tom, that's what you're,
I'm
all about. It's been, your life has always been about, like, charge what you're worth.
Yeah, no, I'm really passionate about it. I think, you know, it's kind of, having worked so long in the industry, and people by default, stylists will charge the lower price for a service rather than what it should be. So you do a half head of highlights, right, where it should be a 3/4, but you know what, well, it's a client that's been with me for a long time. And it's very much about, I think, empowering people to say, okay, look, people are paying for your time. It's a very skilled job. It's complex, it's hard, it's difficult, right? People love it who are in the industry, but you can't forget those other bits. And I think, it's time to address that, because particularly, we're analyzing a lot of color businesses and things like that. And when you close your doors for 3 or 4 months, or someone doesn't visit for that period of time, if you don't raise your prices, then your services are not profitable anymore. You're using a lot more product. It's going to take more time. You have to address that. And I feel that the positives from the lockdown are really, we're seeing a huge increase in people saying, okay, I'm going to change my business model, and I'm going to start looking at charging for time, having a much more simplified service list. I'm going to charge for my time, and I'm going to charge for the product, rather than this sort of, right, actually, certainly in a color business, you've got a big expense in color. Well, that expense, it's not an overhead. You need to make sure that that's profitable. So how are you charging for that? And, we see across services that there isn't the same margin. One client comes in and you might use £5-6 worth of color. Another person comes in for the same service and they might require 12 or £14. So, we're very focused on, right, actually, set your thresholds. If you budget for 40 grams for a service and you use more than that, you should be billing the client for those extra grams. It's not a cost to the business. It needs to be passed on, because actually the service price is your time, and that's right. You're commissioning, you're paying commission to staff and things like that. Whereas color is actually, that's a cost to your business, and you need to make it profitable for your business, like you would retail, right? You wouldn't give retail away, and it's the same sort of thing. So it's really trying to, I spend a lot of time consulting salons just in using our tool, and actually saying, what's kind of the service price increase that you're putting in for when you reopen, is that actually covering your extra time that you're spending with that client? And when you look at it, it often isn't. Now we're seeing with all the salons that have opened in the US, there's 2.5 to 3 times more color being used per service. So who's paying for that? Because if you're not passing it on, your business is not going to be keeping going in 3 months' time. So I think, how do we empower more people in the industry to say, okay, right, this is the price for my time, and I'm going to charge it, and don't discount it or opt for the cheaper service. We need to be confident that, right, we're highly skilled individuals who spent years perfecting the art, charge the right price.
It's interesting you say that, Tom, because lots of salon owners have been saying to us, oh, I'm not going to increase my prices, or I'm not going to be charging anything for PPE because, I think it's disrespectful to my client that they perceive that they might be seen as kind of price gouging as a result of coronavirus. And actually the truth is so much, is the polar opposite, isn't it?
100%. And I think, look, it's kind of, the way I look at it is, okay, you haven't been into the salon for 4 months, okay? You would have visited at least twice during that time, okay? So you've saved all that money. The fact that you're actually kind of, right, your bill might be 25-50% more. This is a kind of recovery service, right? And providing you don't wait another 4 or 5 months to come back, then right, actually, we're going to require less time, less product, so it'll go back to normal levels. So I think, it's a good message as well, where we're saying about, right, actually, if we get this lull after 6 to 7 weeks, I think it's important that, right, clients are aware that it's time and product, kind of, that's really what if they wait for another 4 or 5 months to come back, then it's going to be another big bill for them rather than what they're used to paying.
What you've said there, Tom, I think this is a really relevant point, in as much as we understand that as salon owners, but you're talking about the way you're approaching now, looking at appointments and how they're billed and how they're charged, and time and precision of colour. We need to, it's fine that we all understand that and you're getting that message across, but the client that's going to be so new to them. There has to be a lot of marketing and PR and promotion behind that to actually explain that to them. Because now you've explained that so clearly to me, that makes a lot of sense. And as a client in a salon, I think, right, you've made the point there, which hasn't been made before. That first return to the salon visit is going to be a lot of money. But if I don't wait 4 months, I'm not going to pay that much on the next visit. Now, that we need to make that blatantly clear to clients, because that's quite a new concept. And then they will understand that they're not facing that huge, great lump each time. So sort of, whether it be down to the stylist, it's educating people about the new kind of pricing and how we do that, I think is going to be critical to whether it's successful or not.
Completely. I think that education piece is what it's all about. I think, ultimately, I think clients, where we've had salons move to that model of kind of time and product, clients don't really push back on it. When you actually talk to them about it, it's real transparency, right? So actually, if I'm going to spend an hour and a half with you, if it's only an hour, there's a different price. And actually, from a product perspective, we are able through our software to be able to bill for those extra grams. So that shows at your front desk on reception. So if it's over what you've budgeted for, that then sends a figure to the front desk, which then you can add on to the bill for that extra color. Now, we do that with a markup, so it turns your color into a retail product. Now, when you speak to clients about that, and I speak to salon owners all the time using our system, they say we don't get pushback from clients on that. They get it. It's like, actually, you know what? I've had to use 200 grams of color on your hair rather than the normal 40 because you've not been in for 4 months. Right, okay. And they kind of get it. It's transparent. So, it's definitely a message that needs to get across, but I think it's an easy message. And clients actually feel, that they're accepting of that because it's logical, makes sense. Right. And hey, if we book you in for 6 weeks, we'll probably only need 40 grams. So you're not going to get that charge next time. So this sort of ability to kind of fluctuate that price. And, just on the point of kind of actually education, everything, when you look at everybody's websites, virtually all the color services are from prices. The problem is we don't charge from, we charge the price.
Yeah. I think that's right. And that, Fiona Johnson's asked a good question, which is, will clients think we're capitalizing by charging more? And of course, the answer to that is no, if we have explained it to them, if we have educated them that this is how the price structure works, and that, this is the way it is now, guys, because
we're transparent about it. Do you remember years ago, Simon, when we used to run focus groups, when we were members of, when I used to work for you and your salon group? And the thing that came up most, didn't it, when we had the focus groups, the clients always used to say, why don't we have itemized bills? Why can't we see exactly where our spend is like you do in any other industry? And it came up time and time and time again.
Well, interestingly, I do pricing for all the salons that work with us now. It's something that, we just literally do pricing, pay and targets all day long, hardly anything else at the moment. And we spent a lot of time researching color pricing, and it is kind of one of my favorite topics, actually. I'll try not to speak for too long about it. But the point is that the biggest growth in the industry is from color, and cutting's on the decline, and we all know that. And the biggest growth in color is in the more kind of creative section. So we split color into 3 categories. We call it essential, enhancement, and creative. Your essential color clients, your root tint grey coverage client, and you cannot charge too much for those clients. And particularly after this, because I believe there'll be a section of clients who have actually worked out they can color their own hair, cover their own grey without too much difficulty, a lot less than what a salon charges. I know salon owners won't like that, but that is the reality of it. And I know literally in my own sort of social circle, a few clients said, I'm only going to go back to salon for a cut because look, I can do a reasonable colour with a bit of something out of the box. And again, this is not going to be very popular with the trade, but it is a fact. Now, clients cannot highlight or balayage their own hair yet. I mean, you've probably seen a few, and they've not been very.
I've seen some on the internet, Simon.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to be screaming to come back. Now, the creative colour client is the interesting client for me because These are clients that do not visit that often because the nature of the service they have. And they will pay a lot of money for that service because they're buying that result, they're paying for that result. And that is a service that salons have been giving away for years. And when we get in and start to do top-down price reviews for salons that we work with, I actually said to one salon, because this is what your balayage price needs to be. You always do a toner, you do a balayage, you do a root drag, you always use Olaplex or something similar. This is what the price should be. And he goes, I could never charge that. I said, fine, stop doing balayage and just do blow dries because you'll make more money. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I worked out, I showed him exactly how much he's using. And interestingly, Tom, a few of our clients use Vish and are very impressed with it because they've started to understand now how much product they need to use to generate a colour service. And so, you know, pricing on colour, whatever salons are charging at the moment, I guarantee, unless you're one of our clients, you're not charging enough. Because when you really start, I literally sat and spent a couple of days in a salon and counted grams of colour. I added up the cost of foils. I looked at the amount of time spent, and it horrified me how cheap people were delivering colour for.
Yeah, in an industry with, you know, with ultra thin margins as it is, you know, it's I think this is a crucial sort of area. I think you know, we actually take people through their data after 30 days, and most salon owners are horrified at how much colour their team actually use. What their expectation of what their team use. They know they've got waste, but the actual amount that is used per service, they're horrified at. They really think that it's much lower than it is. You know, if you're looking at a regrowth and you're budgeting for 40, 45 grams of color, and then you see your team are using, you know, 80, 90, 100 grams, you know, that's ruining your margin, you know, so we see a lot of that.
But also proper pricing feeds into the industry being seen as professional, because you don't buy a plumber based on the fact that, you know, they give you all the little grommets that hold the pipes together for free. People are used to getting the bill, aren't they? And I think we need to have much more confidence as a whole sector about saying, you know, you really missed us, you know, Britain and Ireland, you really missed us during lockdown. I think every day, every newspaper had something about hair or beauty in it. Yeah. And so we should be capitalizing on this to showcase the professionalism of our industry. And a huge part of that is the price that we charge, you know, with confidence.
Can I ask Ashley and Caroline something? Because with these time constraints, and Gareth says we should be capitalising on this, and that means traditionally, I know you, Ashley, are very active on social media, and prior to lockdown, most people's social media feeds were filled with before and after pictures of clients, you know, which is good, real clients, how they looked before, how they looked after, because that's what we want to see. Now, we are now in a situation where it's going to look a bit weird in the salon. You'll have the visor on, there'll be no glossy mags. What are we going to do about showcasing these fantastic transformations that you're going to do in salon? On God, there's never been a before and after like there's going to be now. But what are you going to do? Is there going to be time to take snaps of clients? Are they going to want to have it done? Because that was what a lot of salons were doing. So Ashley first, and then Caroline, can you tell me how are you going to showcase these amazing transformations that you're going to do in the salon? Do you think clients will be up for it like they were before?
Well, it's a very good question, but I've got to say, I think this whole conversation, I think, is based around how we're going to do things and how it's going to work. And I think the main point to make about any business, I believe, is the message that you convey. And I think with social media, right from the very start, what we've tried to do as a company is try to explain every step via video, not by messages, to try and convey what's going to be happening, how it's going to happen, what that means. And I think regarding colour appointments and times, etc., you've really got to weigh the business up to see exactly what your business is going to need to do. Funny enough, before I answer that question, just a quick one. I did the figures on my salon from a month last year to this month. And believe it or not, under COVID, I know obviously we're having a rush, but we are optimized at, I think, another 8% higher than what we usually would be. And we're usually a busy salon. Now, you think to yourself, well, okay, then with COVID being locked down for 3 months, of course you're going to be higher. Well, that isn't necessarily true because, of course, if you're increasing your time, therefore spending more time to look after a client to make sure you can get those before and afters if they let you. Really, you should be not running at a profit, I believe. So it just shows you sometimes that actually by maximising the optimisation of every member of the team in the right way, with the right timing, can actually be more profitable than sticking to your same timings and trying to squeeze people into the busy stylists, yet the quieter stylists perhaps stay quieter. So it's a really good way for clients now to start to enjoy the whole team and perhaps spread their wings to other stylists that are fabulous, maybe haven't had that break because they're a little bit quieter than some other characters. So that's really interesting. But regarding the before and afters, I mean, as you said, I know we love social media, we love before and afters, and we actually specialise in transformations. So what we've done before lockdown, luckily, is we created a wall that was actually an Ashley Gamble before and after wall. And that was really cool because clients actually enjoyed going in front of there. Now with visors, etc., we're kind of believing that that might not be quite as popular. But on the same token, we've tried to change the tact of how we do things. So before and afters are going to be taken at the section, not necessarily having the client's face in view. And I think showing the work that has been done by them at home, because a lot of my clients have done their roots themselves, touching upon the point previously. And although a lot of clients have maybe got away with it, I'd suggest more clients haven't got away with it. And the regrowth they've now got is a banding with a red tone that now means Salon has to charge them an extra £150 to remove that brassiness. So of course, we need to really make the public aware that if you do your roots at home yourself, it's not necessarily going to go swimmingly. In actual fact, if you're blonde, it's going to go horrifically wrong. So the root pictures are going to be really important for myself and the team to show what you perhaps shouldn't have done, and then what with one visit and what we can do with a second and third visit. So explaining actually that lockdown £5 colour that you've used might have helped you for 5 minutes perhaps. It's not looking, actually it's going to cost you £200 to £300 per dollar to get right. So I think education of clients and letting them know that we do know what we're doing. A box dye isn't going to do the same job as we can do, because you know what, we've had 20 years of experience, we're kind of good at it now. So showing that transformation for me is going to be the most important thing, more so than showing the visors and the client as a person, because of course they feel very self-conscious about that. All of our ladies, regardless of their physical life, despite what they earn and what they don't earn, don't really want to have a picture on social media with a horrible, disgusting visor on or a mask that doesn't really look that flattering.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Not a sexy look for Ashley Gamble, let alone all the ladies that come.
So you'll focus a lot on the hair and the actual work, which is, I just really want to pick up on those because, you know, you're leaders in this. So it's great for people who are watching and listening to sort of get some tips from you. That seems like a really good route to go down. And really that's what the focus is. You want to show that you create beautiful hair. And I think that's a good way around it, because I think those need to carry on. Caroline, what will you be doing in terms of showcasing, sort of using social media to highlight the work you're doing, but within the parameters of the kit that you're going to have to have?
I mean, I have to be honest, for us, it's really about transitioning into this new normal, if you like. We don't have a set plan for that. The most important thing for me is making sure the welfare of the team and the clients, and if the team feel comfortable, I certainly wouldn't be saying to them, oh, this is a great opportunity, let's get before and afters. Of course it is, but I need to know that my team, when they come back in, they're going to be nervous. I don't want to be putting any more pressure on that of, let's get before and afters. If they feel comfortable with it and the clients are comfortable with it, that's absolutely fine. We're doing, as we come back, we're calling it almost like our phase one, where it's almost like phased reopening, if you like. And in that time, it's really just, keeping an eye on the team and the clients and really watching what's going on and just making sure that their well-being is in place. I think that's really, really important. Yes, the creative side goes on, and if we can get brilliant before and afters, it's a great point. It is, you could get some amazing work, and if we can, we will. But our main focus is not so much the creative side in our first phase going back. It really is more about the well-being of the customers and the team, really, and just letting them have that transition and see what happens. Maybe the clients will be really comfortable with having the images. Maybe they won't. So we're just kind of going to transition and see how that goes.
There's some pretty cool technology out, for things like, some quite cool sort of tools that you can use now for doing consultation prior to visit and things like that. And I wonder whether those types of technologies might end up filling that gap, because they're very much around, right, take a picture, then your stylist sees that, can comment, you know, they can kind of put in the styles, the client can put in styles that they like, or pictures, images of people that they think, oh, I like this look. And
is
then
that like before they go for the appointment?
Yeah, before. So it's really, how do you maximize the time that you've got now? You know, so I think, you know, there's a lot of space for kind of new technologies now, maybe coming in and filling that gap, allowing you to be, you know, use your time more effectively. But then from the client perspective, they're taking these photos as a result of that before and potentially afterwards. So you end up with this sort of portfolio for that client over time. And I wonder whether, you know, I don't know the answer, but whether those would actually be able to be used then within social media and things like that.
Well, I think you make a good point. I think that all salons, I mean, if you've listened to advice and guidelines about what the most important thing that you should do during this period of lockdown has been to communicate, you know, to keep in touch with staff and keep in touch with clients. So that's meant fantastic use we've seen across some salon groups of social media, and also, you know, tools like Zoom, which I think will continue and evolve, and stuff that you're saying, Tom, you know, other tools that allow you to engage. I mean, we're finding now, I think Zoom and communicating via tools like that will be really important, certainly for us at Good Salon Guide, because so many salon owners are going to be flat out working. If we need to access and reach them, you know, and we can't get into the salon maybe because they're flat out, we can access them. We're doing Zoom stuff, aren't we now, Gareth, to make it easier for our members and
sure.
new members.
I think technology has got a huge part to play. And I know that Liz Dunn, Tom, has asked, what's the name of the system for the kind of before after shot? So you've got like maybe a portfolio of a client's journey.
I've seen quite a number. The one that I thought quite impressed me recently is one called SnapSnip, which is US. It hasn't come over here yet, but it's you know, I presume that you can. I don't know a lot about it, but I thought the concept was really, really useful.
Yeah.
And would really help independent salon owners, particularly at this point where, you know, you need to maximise the time that you've got to get clients sort of done and out the door. You know, you need a maximum number. So if you can take that consultation time and create it, you know, so that it's done online and done well online, then that may be something to solve the issue.
I think you know, technology definitely has a place to go with all this, but I would also add that a big part of coming to the salon is the personal interaction. And, you know, one of the challenges in the short term is how do we keep that personal interaction and that personal relationship going when, as Ashley says, everybody feels pretty ugly with the visor on, and, you know, they're not loving themselves, and it's very difficult to get that eye contact.
Yeah.
You know, when the visor reflects your vision and you're looking off to the side and all those sorts of things. And so we've got some real challenges for the short term. You know, longer term, I think, you know, hopefully by Christmas, perhaps we won't have to be wearing PPE or visors or anything like that at all, and we can go back to, you know, some more normality, some more kind of...
What about the question as well for Ashley and Caroline? I don't know if Simon and Tom have heard about this, that there's been some mention, and maybe you know more, Gareth, that it's about, when you say engagement and communication, we know when we've had other webinars like this, our older clients who might not be on social media had just loved having a telephone conversation. Salve was mentioning that. What about the talking with clients, which apparently is being suggested that maybe keep conversation to a minimum? You know, because people will just get back in the salon. They've got great relations with their stylists. As you said, Ashley, these guys are your friends. You oblige them, you help them. They want to have a big chat with you about what's going on in your life. What's the deal about how much you'll be able to engage and converse with them?
Let's be honest. I mean, nobody is suggesting people are going to come into the salon and not chat and talk their absolute heads off. It's going to be something that's going to happen 24/7.
Not your friend.
I mean, we're lucky that obviously we've extended our times, which means we'll be able to talk. And I believe if you don't do face-to-face contact, you use the mirror, you have the visor, you have the mask in place, you've done the temperature when the client walks into the salon.
Right.
What you're saying is COVID isn't present in the salon. Therefore, measures are still in place to protect you in case it is, of course. But you can have a chat, you can relax, you can enjoy yourself, and it is safe. And I think people just got to maybe put it in perspective and just be sensible. You know, the consultations we used to have, whereby sometimes I'd use body language to comfort a lady, to make them feel confident, can't obviously happen, which is unfortunate, but it's the way of the times. So we can do it in other ways, but unfortunately more from a mirror perspective than face-to-face.
That's a good idea. Would you agree with that, Caroline? Going back into the salon, that's what you're going to do?
Think as well, the only sort of, not restriction, but when the hair dryer's on and if you have a blow dry, then maybe not having, you know, before you put the blow dry on is, you know, just saying, oh, we won't chat while I'm doing the blow dry, because then you're having to raise your voice, and that is one of the stipulations, isn't it, in the guidelines about raising your voice as such. So potentially, you know, to begin with, when the blow dryers are on, and also you could be at the backwash as well, but saying it in such a way as, we'll let you relax now while we do your hair. So maybe that would kind of reduce the conversation at the backwash. But when the stylist, you know, meets the client, there's so much to catch up on.
That's what I thought.
We want the experience to still very much about the customer experience, and you know, that includes conversation.
One of the things people miss as going to the salon is that me time that it provides. And you know, this is the kind of the social worker element of being, you know, a stylist or a therapist. You know, we mustn't take that away. People are paying money and they want their experience, and you know, we can't give them a nice frothy coffee. We can only give them, you know, water in a disposable cup. So I think we're going to have to work even harder with the chat to remain interested when your sixth client of the day has asked you the same question about lockdown and how you coped, and doesn't your hair look lovely, and why couldn't I do the same? And it's gonna, you know, keeping that enthusiasm is I think was so important, and actually going to be really hard. And this comes, I think, maybe, Caroline, nicely to your mindset, and how we're getting our staff into the right mindset, and how we're going to keep them positive, both shorter and longer term.
Yeah, it's interesting. We did a survey with our, you know, questionnaire with our team when we found out, we've been meeting with them regularly throughout lockdown, but we did a survey with them. I think it's really good to find out what sort of mental state they're in at the moment, you know, and we just asked them just really simply to score yourself between 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, where you're at mentally right now, you know, during lockdown. This, you know, what number would you give yourself? It was interesting. And also, how nervous are you about coming back to the salon? And we worked out sort of an average, if you like, and on average it was the excitement of coming back to the salon was like a 9, you know, like it was 8.5, 9 kind of thing, but the nerves of coming back to the salon was 4.9. So it was just kind of midway. So it was very much a mix of, some people were like a 1, like I just want, get me back in. And then others were kind of like a 6 or 7, like there really is a fear there, you know, they really do have a fear. And we were just asking with them and communicating them, well, what is the fear? You know, we made sure we went through everybody to see what is the real fear. Some it's the virus itself. Others were like, what are clients going to be like? Are we going to fit anyone in? Are they, you know, if we're doing restricted appointments, are clients going to be upset? You know, there's all these different levels of kind of anxiety and fear that's going in. So if we know that, then, and we know the ones that need that extra little bit of support as well, then we can work with them. And that's what I mean about kind of like phased reopening. It's just really like, one of the things that we're doing this Friday is we're getting the team into the salon, not for a whole day, just for a few hours. And we're going to start doing some digital consultations. This is our first digital consultations that we've done. So just a small amount. And just to break them in, if you like, and just get them back in to feel the salon environment, and play with the technology, and just get used to speaking to the customers through Zoom. Not that we're going to be doing that all the time. We'll be doing a lot of the phone calls for bookings, but what we've done is we've asked the customers who have coloured their hair at home, only those who've coloured their hair at home, that they can book the digital consultation. So it's just, you know, it's kind of like the whole thing that we're doing on Friday is really for two purposes. It's, you know, the client that's done their hair at home to talk them through, you know, so we can get a proper look at it and have a digital consultation, and potentially talk them through doing like a postal strand test if needs be, but also breaking in the team to get them to see each other again physically. You know, get them, even though we've been doing digital team cuddles each week, it's not the same as actually having the team cuddles in the salon, and just really supporting each other. There's got to, you know, keep that culture going. We had such a strong teamwork culture before, and, you know, we've really worked at keeping that going. That's what the rest of the team of picking them up and so on. And also being aware of our customers, just being very aware. You can almost feel the urgency. It's like they're starting to panic. We haven't opened the booking lines yet, and you can kind of feel that. What did you say about a skin? Well, you know, like we'd sent out a text about a skin test, just sort of pre-warning. It was like, you could see them panicking. What's this about a skin test? But I've had mine done less than 6 months ago. No, don't worry, it's just a pre-warning, you know, that you might need one. So it's just things like that. It's just really awareness, you know, just being mindful of the team and the clients.
What are you saying, Simon, to the, obviously you've done a lot with teams and how to build teams and the culture of teams. Your members, what advice are you giving them about, you know, making sure the team feels safe and confident to go back?
Yeah, I mean, there are two areas of confidence here, aren't there? There's your staff confidence and your client confidence, and that's really what we're dealing with here. And I think now the guidelines have been released, certainly for England, they're not as onerous as we thought they were going to be, you know. And I think it comes back down to this: our clients visit us for an experience, and we're not selling a commodity. We're selling, you know, the relationship, the way that we make our clients feel. So we can't lose sight of that by getting so screwed up with you know, all the PPE thing. And thank God we're not having that discussion today, because I think I want to kill myself if we start talking about masks and visors again. And I think we've got to impress on our staff. Obviously, there's got to be some sensible safeguards, which everybody's doing sensibly, with a risk assessment, with warning people about symptoms. But I think there will be a degree of anxiety as staff come back into the salons, because some people haven't even left their homes. You know, there are some staff of some of the salon owners we talked to that they said, you know, we've got stylists that have not been out like for months. They just haven't. And mum's been doing the shopping, or they've been doing everything online, and they've not stepped outside their door. And I think that's going to be the worry, isn't it? You've almost got people who've developed temporary agoraphobia in the lockdown. So we've got to get them back out and back into salons gently. And I think what Caroline's done is very sensible. Bring them in for a few hours, start getting used to stuff again. And I think it's that gentle, soft launch of your business again, not too much focus on targets for the first 4-6 weeks. Just get people back into being used to interact with their clients and start to feel more confident. Don't put too many time pressures on staff for that initial period, and then we can start to focus on the targets in what I call period 2, which is the 5th to the 8th week, really. Just to get some income coming in for some salon owners is going to be a massive compared to 3 months of zero income, but still significant fixed overhead costs during that period.
It sounds like what you're saying is build their confidence, you know, sort of slowly, and very, very good point. Don't put any more pressure on them than is necessary by focusing on things like targets. One thing I think probably, I don't know where your guys' salons are in terms of that, we had a webinar where we spoke to Jamie Brooks, who of course has got a big central London salon. And it turned out, which hopefully we won't have so much in more provincial salons, that his staff were incredibly frightened about having to use London transport to get to work. And in fact, as you say, Caroline, when he actually spoke to them and you analyse, people are worried about different things. It's not necessarily for them going back in the salon, but it might be using a tube or travelling on a London bus. Unfortunately, not a lot he can do given where his salon is. But, you know, if you isolate, as you said, where the fears are, you can probably address them better. And maybe solve them, you know. So it's about, you know, as you say. What does Joanne say here, Gareth? She says, are you limiting time in salon per client? That's a question.
I guess this is, I guess, Joanne, taking words from your mouth, this may be to do with social distancing.
Yeah.
So, you know, are you kind of hurrying them out? And I guess because of longer appointment times, you know, we're not going to let them just sit in reception. They are going to need to leave after their appointment, maybe after they've bought some retail.
Yeah, because I think she makes she was very glad, everybody, that we addressed the issue of chatting and stuff, because, you know, the problem is, as you said, Ashley, you know, you don't want to be rude. They want to have a chat as they leave the room. It's very difficult, and they're lovely people, and they are your business. So it's balancing that fine line between, as she says, you know, obviously having a chat, making them feel welcome, that you're probably hugely grateful to see them as you are, but maintaining the safety as well. And I suppose you've got, just as somebody said earlier, you just got to be honest about it, really, and say, we'd love to chat more, but we can't. You've got to go now.
Let me escort you safely off the premises. So just take I think that's it.
Oh, taxi for Simon. Yeah. What? Sorry, Ashley, what were you going to say?
Just tickled me, sorry. I suppose for us it comes down to communication again. Last night till late I was just tweaking our we've got a notice board in the kitchen that I've just bought, a massive one which Steph has told me off for, but effectively it's going to have a massive sheet of paper with our sort of, if you like, our COVID watching target things to look out for. And I think what's going to happen for us tomorrow is we're going to go through all the staff, what these sort of little small points are that you've got to do when you come into the building, how you've got to sort of behave, what we're expecting of you, what you've got to look out for, and what we're going to do to protect you, to make you feel more comfortable. But the point is, I've done 3 of them. So I've done one for staff, I've done one for our clients on social media before they come into the salon. And I've also, on every section, just got 3 or 4 little diagrams explaining what they should do when they're in the salon. And one of those little points on my social media one that's being designed as we speak for the social media before they come into salon is effectively letting them know how to enter the salon, how you'll be treated when you're in the seats, what your members of team will be doing to make your experience more pleasant, but not only that, how you exit the building. And one of them is, once you finish your appointment, your stylist will ask you to stay in your seat until there's a clear path to reception, where we have got, well, actually, it sounds horrible, but it's a 6-foot beautiful sort of screening that wraps around the reception, which allows clients to feel safe face-to-face to obviously purchase product, pay via card or cash, whichever they prefer. We're going to make both safe, and also have a small chat before then they exit the building. Because what the team will be doing is, if there's somebody at the desk taking a long time, the previous client, the next client that's coming through the door, will be called just to say, if you bear with us, stay in your car for a couple of minutes, we're going to ensure you've got, again, a clear path to walk into the salon, to be seated at your section for your colorist or stylist. So all that's going to be explained, which I think makes the process simpler. So the one thing I'd like to say to everyone that is watching, and hopefully there is some people watching,
Ashley, there are.
I am worried about a lot of salons that I care about that you haven't had a chance to call. You've just got to make sure that you keep your structure in place and allow you to know what's happening in a normal way, and not be, like we've said previously, be so het up about the PPE and what you're going to be doing and chucking it all at them. Just try and keep it simple and also common sense, you know.
That's a good point. Go on, Simon.
About the reception, one of the things we're suggesting to our members, and most software packages will allow you to do this, is check out in the chair. So you can put your software on an iPad or a similar tablet or something. What we're suggesting, there's 2 reasons for doing this. One, it stops the client wandering about too much. As you know, we really want them out the chair and out the door rather than lingering around reception. If you use reception for checking clients in, and check out in the chair. So the second reason, number one reason, it keeps the client there so that they're not moving around too much. But the second reason, it's the best point at which to stimulate rebooking. Because while the client is still in the chair at the point at which you finished her hair and she's looking and she's feeling very relaxed, if you can stimulate that rebooking at that point and book the appointment for them at that point, you know, you're more likely to get the rebooking than when they've left the chair. Because the old, you know, what's the saying? Once the gown is off, the client's left the building. The only thing that stops them leaving is they haven't paid.
Yeah.
And short of rugby tackling them to the floor in reception, who haven't paid, it's better to get them to do it, you know, in the chair.
You've done that actually, haven't you? You've done that rugby tackle quite a few times. Yeah, I've seen you. Yeah.
You haven't paid.
Claire, can I ask you about marketing and PR? So we've talked about kind of lots of shorter term things so far, and I would like us to touch on the kind of, as Simon describes, kind of stage 2, stage 3, so I'm talking about kind of, you know, the last quarter of this year. You know, what should we be doing from a marketing PR? Ashley, also about the creative side. What should we be doing here to market our business more generally in what's potentially going to be, you know, a pretty deep recession? You know, to keep ourselves buoyant and front of mind.
Well, I think you mentioned an excellent point earlier, Gareth. You've got to be aware that things like Christmas are looming up. That's a perfect opportunity. It seems like, you know, but work in advance, like magazines do. Sort of, I know your staff are going to be busy, but Caroline mentioned an excellent thing that is a well-known thing that salons do. Think in terms of packages. Think in terms of, as you say, added value, but there's a big incentive to block book. There's a big incentive to sort of get them into the salon. Also, I'm a great believer it's going to be harder now because of, you know, the way we have to work with other businesses. But small independent salons, I mean, I've worked with Simon for many years. We always found that as an independent group, we aligned ourselves with other independents in the high street, and we supported each other in a massive way. And we found that was mutually beneficial to our business and the businesses that we work with around us in the high street. Now, that's going to be harder because of the restraints on, you know, interaction. But at the moment, it's not just going to be hard for salon owners, it's going to be hard for all small businesses. So I think salons should look to work and with other businesses they can. With things like Christmas coming up, it's busy. But the big thing I have found in PR over the years, the problem with working in PR with salon people is they employ you and they want you to achieve remarkable success, but they don't give you the time to actually sit down and work with you on campaigns and strategies to do this. And then they get very cross and frustrated when things don't come to fruition. Now more than ever, because the salon owners will say, I've got to be on the salon floor. You've got to be on the salon floor, we understand that. But if you don't allocate time to, if you have a PR, working with the PR, if you don't have a PR, sitting down with your team to do sort of, you know, creative sessions where you can come up with ideas, you're going to deeply regret it 2 or 3 months down the line, because it's like we said, it's putting strategies in place now for packages, offers, deals, competitions, aligning yourselves with other businesses in the run up to Christmas. It's thinking ahead and making plans and not saying, I've got to work every single second on the salon floor. I haven't got time to think about that. I mean, we find that at the Guide, you know, we find trying to get in to see salon owners and get them to sit down and talk to us and give us the time that we need so that we can help them just doesn't happen. And it's a big problem that we have. We can't help you unless you create the time in your busy schedules to prioritize things like marketing and PR.
I think that's really good. And Ashley, as an example, have you got the next creative shoots planned in now? Are you already thinking about that, or are you so focused on kind of bums on seats?
Well, I am a bit of a control freak, and luckily for me, I always shoot my British Hairdressing Award shoot, you know, early on in the year. So everything's always been quite pre-planned with myself. So we've actually achieved all the shoots that we need to. And obviously, due to certain rules and different things, we're not sure what's going to happen this year. But effectively now, for me, all the creative side is done, so I can focus on, like we've mentioned, PR and the salon work. I've always used LWPR for my PR, and they've always been fabulous for me. But we chose this year to do ourselves because I felt like I wanted to do less time in the salon and focus more time on the team and also my own sort of app, and also my own Instagram and Facebook, and also releasing collections to different magazines and getting, you know, a good rapport with them. And I really enjoyed that. But I think the key point that we've made is you've got to take the time out to focus on what's happening at what time and look in the future. So every salon owner at the moment, as we all know, will be focusing solely on just getting into the salon and making sure, as mentioned again previously, it's safe for all the members of the team as well as the staff, you know, and the clients. But unless you start thinking of strategy about how to extend the busy period past this first month and indeed into Christmas, you're going to find what's going to happen is your revenue is going to spike and dip, and that's going to cause a lot of pressure on an owner, because they're going to be wondering, well, what am I doing wrong? So I would really stress to everyone before they go back to work, while they're finalising all the hours, the shift patterns, potentially don't open up 24/7. Think about the second and the third month, and just try and sustain your team to have a steady income. And also with your creative work, sort of match that with it. So you're not going crazy straight away. Just let it sort of run its course and sort of let it mould in with the rest of the work that you're doing, I would suggest.
Yeah. And there's still, Ashley, I mean, things that can increase your salon exposure, like we've always done with a lot of clients. I know you have, Ashley, and we've done it with Simon. We've done a lot of award entries, and I think you need to don't think, oh, we've missed the deadline, because award entries are great for raising your profile. A lot of the companies have extended the deadline for awards. They're well aware that the pressure that the pandemic has put upon businesses. So it's much simpler than ever. Gone are the days, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, where you had to submit expensive and vast, you know, portfolios, which we haven't got time to do. Now everything can be submitted online. It's easier for you to do. It's well worth doing. It's a great way to look at your business, what you're doing, what you're not doing. I know you're big in awards, Ashley. I mean, just the process of entering awards is a great thing to do, because it makes you look at what you are and what you aren't doing. You can do them online. Even if you make a finals, I hate this new word, I finalised. What does that mean? But if you're a finalist, not you finalised, if you're a finalist in the awards, that's great exposure and PR, and it's all about creating content for your grid and your feed. You know, it's going to be harder to create content because of the lockdown and the after effects. But where you can, if you can be active in the community in any way, all this creates great content for your social media. You've got no social media if you haven't got content. And much as we love the before and after pictures, and we said they're going to be slightly different, no one wants to see nothing but before and after pictures. That's just one side of your business, isn't it? So, you know, get out there, enter some awards, do some other things, and document what you're doing, successes you've had on your social media. Create some content where you can.
I mean, what I would say is regarding competition, because I could talk about it all day long. Yeah. While we've been in lockdown, Stephanie's done a sweet business that I've been really busy with, which has gone very well. But also I've been basically knocking out competitions left, right and centre. So companies are changing now with their competitions. I mean, we're prolific with Salon Business. We love Salon Business. We love Hair Magazine. We love BHAs. And all of them understand that the times have changed, whereby, you know, you haven't got the money sometimes to chuck, you know, 10,000 or 20,000 at a shoot. It's about raw talent. And I mean, Salon Business for me is streets ahead in the respect of had a category this year that's authentic stylist.
Yeah.
That allows you to have a camera.
Exactly.
You cut somebody's hair, you cut somebody's hair, you record all of it. There's no, obviously, issues with any retouching, etc. It's all based on raw talent. And at the end of the day, when you send that video in off your iPhone, you can have exposure of being one of the UK's first authentic stylists, just do salon hair very well. And we're lucky enough that obviously I had too much time on my hands, and that's one I did.
No, I agree. They've simplified it. They've made it cheaper. You can shoot on your iPhone. You don't have to. I think what you say, Ashley, I mean, I've spent the last 2 months doing nothing but awards, and, you know, take a look at them. They've progressed. You don't need the money that you used to. You don't need necessarily to employ, although do employ me as a PR to write them, obviously. But aside from that, you know, what I'm saying is it's a great way, and it's more accessible and it's easier. So don't think I've missed the boat, because, you know, a lot of them have extended their deadlines because they've been hugely aware of what salon owners have been going through. So those are some PR tips for you.
Thank you, Claire. So can I ask each panelist, if that's okay, what your one, kind of in brief perhaps, your one tip or suggestion is to let salons grow their business and to keep them strong? So Simon, may I start with you? Your one thing you would, if there's one thing you're going to you'd suggest a salon to do, is what? Okay,
so if you haven't already done that, you have to have a proper top-down review of your pricing, staff targets, pay and profit. You've got to look and focus on these numbers, and it all starts with pricing.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. Tom, what would you, other than obviously taking on Vish, which we're not going to let you have the opportunity to sell yourself in that way?
No sales pitch. No, I mean, I think, look, whether you use technology or not, I sort of echo what Simon said. I think you've really got to look at, okay, you've had 3 or 4 months where you haven't been trading. You now want to secure your business and probably recoup if you can. So it's really important that every service, every bit of time you've, and so I think, you know, that whole analyze everything. And if your prices have to go up, you've got to be confident that, you know, you do a great job, you're brilliant at what you do, your staff are brilliant, and you can charge the extra. People will pay it, you know. And I think that's just, you know, be confident that actually, if you look at it from a business perspective, you can look at the numbers and say, right, I need this profit margin, and all the numbers stack up. But you've just got to be confident and empower your team to then charge that as well.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you. Caroline, what would you add?
I kind of believe that you get more of what you focus on. Mindset is so important. When you're thinking about returning to the salon, focus on the results you want. Focus on the dream salon, the goals that you want. Don't focus on the problems. Focus on the solutions. You know, that would be my my little tip.
Keep positive.
Yeah, I think it's more than just positive. It's not just positive thinking. You know, there is real neuroscience around this, and it really is focusing on the results that you want. You get more of what you focus on. It's as simple as that. So if you're thinking in your head, you know, what if this? What if negative? What if negative? And always thinking about the worst case scenarios. That is what you're focusing on. You'll get more of it. I learned that during the last recession when I almost closed my doors.
Okay, thank you. Ashley, what would be your one tip?
I think for me, I've touched on it earlier. I'd probably suggest for owners just not to panic. I think all these extra late hours, cramming everybody in as much as you physically can because you've had no earnings for 3 months, can be very detrimental. I mean, you've got to keep the strength of the team good. You don't want to work them to the bone and then them just be sitting down for 2 months afterwards. I think just keep things consistent, keep relaxed, have a structure in place. And remember, I think, to enjoy it yourself as an owner, because, of course, the team are looking to you for confidence. And unless you're exuding that, it's not going to happen. So I think just stay on top of everything and just try and be smart. And I think everything will be good in the end.
Yeah, I love that, Ashley. Enjoy it because, you know, we're doing this because we love it. That's why people got into this. And I think it's terribly easy when you're behind a visor and you're stressed and it's all unknown, is to lose that love and just, you know, keep focus on it. Thank you. Claire, anything that you'd add?
It's just what I said. And I think Ashley touched on it. You know, avoid the temptation to think it's just, you know, developing and securing the success of your business is simply about hours behind the salon chair. You still have to create time to work on what we've talked about, you know, not just PR and marketing, but hugely create strategies and campaigns and think ahead. And if you don't allow the time to do that, then the people around you who want to help you do that can't effectively do that. So don't focus solely about, as Ashley said, getting back in there, working flat out. Think about other aspects of your business that need your attention too.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time and your input. It's been really, really useful and really valuable. And I hope the attendees have also found so. I know we've had some good questions.
Yeah.
This has all been recorded. So if somebody has missed it or you'd like to see it again, it will be up on our website in about 10 minutes time. As ever, if anybody's got any specific questions, please just pick up the phone to one of the team at Good Salon Guide. We're really happy to help and advise. But lastly, just good luck and enjoy, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thanks.
Thank you very much for